First of all, I'll say that if you pick up the newspapers, you get the impression that green hydrogen is this silver bullet that is going to come and solve all of the world's problems. Let's not fall for the hype. There is massive opportunity in green hydrogen, but there are a few guardrails that we have to think about. The first bit is the solar and the renewables energy that goes into the production of green hydrogen has to be incremental. I know Negi Saab spoke about the fact that yes, we've got 250 gigawatts, but only 22% is being used. That problem needs to be addressed, but even beyond that problem, interestingly, the government's hydrogen policy outlines that extra 125 gigawatts as incremental, and we should stay true to that. The second is a chemistry problem. Hydrogen is the smallest molecule out there, and there is a greater risk of hydrogen leakage. I'm not talking from the perspective of safety. I think the safety part of it can be mostly addressed. But if you have unviably large levels of leakage, what will happen is you will end up causing more greenhouse gases, and therefore, when you're thinking that this is a green solution, it's not as green as it was. That's not to say don't do green hydrogen. Absolutely, we must do it, but we must do it keeping in mind the leakages thing. So you have to ensure that your engineering is such that you minimize leakages. You have monitoring systems in place that track that leakages are not happening. And the third thing is don't transport it too far, because the more you transport, the more there is a risk of leakage. The third question is a question of thermodynamics, which is where should we use green hydrogen? It makes sense to use green hydrogen where, as Negi Saab spoke, there are some parts that can be electrified and some sectors or industries which is difficult to electrify because you need high heat sources. In that context, therefore, having hydrogen cars, hydrogen scooties doesn't make sense. If you can run it on electricity, run it on electricity. You should use it where you can't use electricity quite as easily. So chemicals, fertilizers, steel, etc. Those are kind of the guardrails around this. None of this is to suggest, another one which I would like to just say is, it doesn't make sense to have green hydrogen trains. The Indian rail network is electrifying. Let it electrify and move forward on that one. If you take electricity that you've generated through whatever source and then further use it to split water, doesn't make sense. The last bit I'll say is electrolyzers. We cannot afford to remain dependent on imported electrolyzers. If there's one thing, the only good thing that is coming out of the Middle East war is that sense that we have to become more Atmanirbhar. We have to have those domestic solutions. This is not only about waving the India flag, but it is a national security priority that we have those solutions in place. My last point is we have a cost problem. $3 to $5 or $4 to $5 is the cost of green hydrogen. It needs to go down to 1 to 2. Who is going to own the technologies that will bring this price down? If somebody else brings the price down from 5 to 1, and that somebody else is not India, India will not end up paying 1. You will end up paying 1 plus. And so it is incumbent on us to find ways of bringing that price down. We've done it before. We need to do it here.